Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Kombumerri people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Monday, October 14. In Squiz Kids Today, broccoli dodgers exposed, secret tomb under ancient temple, light show from outer space, and Nedd Brockman does it again. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
Are you a broccoli dodger? Would you rather eat a Mars bar than a mashed potato? Or a burrito instead of a Brussels sprout? Well, you're not alone, as new figures yesterday revealed that 95% of Australians are not getting their recommended 5 serves a day of fresh fruit and veggies. And it's not only hurting our wallets and our waistlines, but it's taking its toll on our farmers too. Those were the findings over the weekend after the Australian Bureau of Statistics released the National Health Survey, which found that our lives have gotten so busy that we're relying more and more on processed food, and altogether that's bad for our health. Processed food is any food that has been changed some way when it's made or prepared. A packet of chips, for instance, is a processed food. Yes, of course, a chip starts life as a potato, but before getting into its packaging, that potato undergoes a whole lot of processing, with different flavours and additives thrown in to make it saltier or sweeter. And did we mention that this week is National Nutrition Week? Be sure to check out the excellent worksheets that Christy has prepared for today's Classroom Companion. This week, you'll be decoding those mysterious nutrition labels that are on the backs of everything we buy at the supermarket and solving a maze that has a lovely big basket of veggies at its centre. You can find the Classroom Companion via our website squizkids.com.au. Hear ye, all members of the Commonwealth of Australia are hereby requested to have their shirts pressed, their shoes polished and their hair neatly brushed, as your King and Queen prepare to pay you a visit this week. Yes, my friends, there will be Union Jack flags flying all over the country later this week as King Charles and Queen Camilla leave behind Buckingham Palace in London to pay a flying visit to Sydney and Canberra. They'll be arriving in Australia on Friday and culminating their tour with a big outdoor meet and greet at Sydney Opera House next Tuesday. How very posh.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Jordan, a country in the Middle East, where archaeologists have uncovered a secret underground tomb beneath a temple in the desert. The Temple of Kazna in Petra is one of the wonders of the Arab world, a huge structure cut into the side of towering pink sandstone cliffs. If you've ever seen the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, you'd know it as soon as you saw it. Using special radar technology, archaeologists were able to detect a hollow space underneath the stone entrance to the temple, and, upon digging it up, discovered an ancient tomb filled with human skeletons and artifacts made of bronze, iron and ceramic, estimated to be over 2,000 years old. How cool is that?
Spaced out.
Were you one of the thousands of Aussies who looked to the heavens last Thursday and Friday night and were treated to an astral light show of the most vivid colours? Then you were lucky enough to have experienced the Aurora Australis, a phenomenon that takes hold of the skies above Australia only very rarely, and only when planet Earth is tilted at the right angle and solar flares from the sun hit our atmosphere at just the right angle too. And so it was over 2 nights last week, meaning Aussies from Tasmania all the way up as far north as the Gold Coast were dazzled by the interstellar light show, turning the night sky a glorious hue of pink, green and purple. I've stuck a link to photos of it in today's episode notes. You're very welcome.
Biggest, furthest, longest.
This is the Squiz Kids segment where we dips our lid, which is a funny way of saying we celebrate incredible achievements. And today, we're giving a great big Squiz Kids salute to Port Macquarie cyclist Lachlan Morton, who last week pulled off the incredible feat of riding around the entire country of Australia in only 30 days, 9 hours and 59 minutes, smashing the record by an entire week. Lachlan told radio listeners over the weekend that he still has a very sore bum from so many days riding in a bike saddle. Ouch! And speaking of incredible physical feats, at the time of putting this podcast together, marathon running superstar Nedd Brockman was getting closer to his crazy goal of running 1,000 miles in 10 days around an athletics track in Sydney. 1,000 miles is just over 1,600 kilometres, so a really, really long way. It's called Nedd's Uncomfortable Challenge, and he's been running to raise money for charity, to help find homes for people that don't have them. And where Lockie's bum was sore, Nedd's feet had swollen from a size 9 to a size 12. Good heavens, there are not enough blister band-aids in the world.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What is the name of the spectacular night sky light show that appeared last week over large parts of the Australian continent? That's right, it's called the Aurora Australis. Question number 2. King Charles will visit Australia later this week, along with his wife, Queen who? That's right, it's Queen Camilla. Question number 3. How many miles did Nedd Brockman set out to run in his uncomfortable challenge? And remember, I said miles, not kilometres. That's right, it was 1,000 miles.
Shout-outs.
It's Monday, October 14. Today is the first day of Term 4 for New South Wales, South Australia and Tassie school kids. Welcome back. Those of us who've been back for a fortnight are so very pleased you could join us. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today and tomorrow. Annie from Lockleys, Madeline from Tennyson, Terence from Minto, Scarlett from Brunswick, Tangra from Darwin, Tilly from Vermont South, Bob from Yass, Gabrielle from Oran Park, Boston from Thaguna, Margaret from Bathurst, Bailey from Forest Lake, and Katrina from Hazelbrook. And belated birthday shout-outs today go to Juliet from Bronte, Gabe from Point Lonsdale, Leah from Middletown Grange, and Ina, who's listening all the way over there in Sapporo in Japan. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Class 5B with Mrs. White at Assisi Catholic College in Upper Coomera, Classes S3B and S3Y with Mrs. Bickham, Mrs. Pye, and Mrs. Yee at Carlingford Public School, Class 5G with Mr. Shand at Launceston Christian School, Class 6B with Mrs. Black at Queenwood School in Sydney, and Class 3-4A with Mrs. Anderson at Boggabri Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new Squiz the World as we pay a virtual visit to the fascinating country of Bangladesh, where the Women's T20 World Cup is taking place this week. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.